It is now my pleasure to turn today's program over to Mark Ryder, Vice President of the Customer Service Organization. Mark, the floor is yours.
Thanks very much, and good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us on this call. Today's an exciting day for us at Navistar, releasing the latest in a series of technology-leading service process improvements. It's been a long time coming. And really, I just want to give my perspective on this just really briefly at the beginning, that the Accelerator write-up tool was really trying to help us answer a couple of questions. The first was, we've been doing fault code action plans for a while, and how can we incorporate the symptom information into a fault code action plan? The second question we're trying to answer is, how can we streamline and accelerate the repair process? I'm really pleased to see that the Accelerator write-up tool answers both of those questions for us. Before I turn the call over to Joe Edmonds, who's the service program lead for the project, I did want to thank some folks, and I generally don't do names because I always leave somebody out. But there were a lot of people behind the scenes that made this happen. A lot of folks in the customer service organization, a lot of folks in Navistar's IT organization made this happen. A really heartfelt thanks to all of our pilot dealers. We could not have made this product without you and all of your input. And then thankfully, and also to the service advisory board dealers who kind of prodded us and pushed us down this road a year or so ago. So thanks to everybody who made this happen. Really excited to see this product roll out, and I'll let Joe Edmonds take over the call from here.
Thank you, Mark. Well, good morning, everyone. We have had great anticipation leading up to this day, and we're very excited today to introduce to you the launch of a new Android application. So on today's agenda, I'm going to take a moment to define what the need was, basically how we got to the point where we chose we needed to pursue this. I'll go through an overview of Accelerator, essentially what the application is built around. I'm going to do a demonstration where you'll actually see the application live. I'll do some highlights of the application and cover some really heavy hitter important items. And then I'll cover availability and shipping and what your Accelerator resources are. And then finally, we're going to have a decent amount of time for question and answer at the end of the program here. So as we're going through this, I won't be answering questions till the end. So please get them ready and type them in at the end of the program, and we'll answer them as we go through. So defining the problem. This has been something that we were challenged with for many years. But basically what we were looking at is, at one point in time we had a very high dwell time. Now we've done a lot over the years to correct that. We've made some great improvements to really reduce the overall dwell time. We've corrected some quality issues, and we've evaluated and improved our dealer process quite a bit with Project Confirmation 3.0. Now one of the things that we looked at is what is the actual dealer cycle of service look like. What's very common for us is, what will typically happen is they write the vehicle up, they go through a diagnostics and obtain parts and complete the repair. Oftentimes what we'd find is they would identify an open campaign after the repair is complete, obtain parts again, then complete the campaign. They do a quality check and find that there's missed symptoms. So the question that we had is what could be impacted by the write-up. Basically, missed symptoms is definitely a product of a poor write-up. Obtaining parts twice, that's definitely something that could be avoided with an effective write-up. And also, diagnosing a vehicle without requiring Navistar's assistance. So what next? The very first thing we typically like to do when we start any good project is define who the team is. So we basically reached out to a number of pilot dealers, and we ended up with 6 dealers that helped us from the beginning of this, where we actually didn't even know we were building an app when we started. So they helped us. We basically defined our team. The next question that we ask ourselves is, what are other people in the industry doing? So we looked at a number of different tools that are out there today. We benchmark tools from other OEMs. We benchmark tools from aftermarket companies as well as parallel industries, so automotive and agriculture as well. And we basically took some stories out of their playbook to see what they were doing. The next question is, what is our process? We were very fortunate that this application was being developed at the same time as Project Confirmation 3.0, so we were able to steal a page out of that playbook and be able to develop an app that is way more effective. So the next step is, what next? Well, we've decided to build an app. Over the course of the last 2 years, we've begun building this app, and we have actually completed it and published it live to the Google Play Store today. This is an Android-only app. This is an application that's built for service advisors at international and IC bus dealers, specifically for the write-up process. So this application is not something that you're going to need to use halfway through the repair. Finally, it is actually an application that was built for the dealers by the dealers. I think that's a very important point, because the 6 dealers that started, we expanded it later on, but they're the source of all of our requirements. Essentially, they would give us an idea or a challenge, and we would, through meetings that we did every Wednesday at 10 a.m., we would come up with solutions and offer it up to the dealers, and they would help us hone those requirements and build an application that's as effective as it can be. This is a very high-level overview of the process. I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into that. Basically, where it starts is service requests. What we found is most of our dealers don't take formal appointments. They take very simple appointments. The ones that do use a very simple system, like just like a ledger or a notepad or something. So what we had to define is something that's equally as simple and straightforward. Service requests are basically a saved write-up. So when you begin the process and you go through developing a write-up, at any given time, at any step in the process, you can simply save that and it'll go on the dashboard as a service request. The next item is the web admin. We have not launched this yet, but we're getting close. Essentially, what the web admin tool is intended to do is take the functionality of Accelerator write-up that offers value to the dealers except for what is required of the tablet itself, and put it on the web so that people can generate service requests, and those will get deployed to the tablets that are registered to their dealer. So the first step to the write-up process is collecting customer information. This is similar to the first item that you typically collect when you greet a customer for the first time. What's the first question you ask? What's your name? Who are you? Who are you with? Tell me about the vehicle, the basic information that you collect around the customer. That's the first step. We pull the information in from Navistar, and then you can update it from there. The second step earned its own slide because it's probably the most significant introduction that we're bringing with Accelerator. Basically what we found is that from one dealer to the next, the technician will get a widely different package from the service advisor. One service advisor will collect the customer's life story, while the other one will write EWL, if any of you guys are familiar with that, or truck is broke. What we've designed is a click-based, multiple-choice, branch logic questionnaire that's intended to guide service advisors through the write-up process and generate a standardized complaint code. So this code essentially is designed to quantify the customer complaint. Most of you should be familiar with complaint cause correction. That's a very common language in the dealer. What we found is that oftentimes the cause of a particular issue or complaint would result from a failed part. The correction could often result into a standard repair time, so that's also quantified. Until now, the customer complaint has never been quantified, so that's what we're looking to do. One of the greatest advantages to this is that we're able to utilize the strategy that Navistar is using today with action plans. With customer complaints, we will now be able to guide every technician action that occurs in your shops today with action plans. So this is what we're really excited about. Introducing the click-based write-up is really something that's going to help with the dealers. So the third step is to capture 4 photos of every vehicle that comes in for service. What our intention with this is to avoid customer disputes, and more importantly, generate an agreement between you and the customer. What we found is that oftentimes this gets neglected because all of our dealerships are in a hurry to continue to write up all the vehicles, collect all the information they need, and they often forget. One of the things that I want to point out here is it's very important to make sure that as you're doing this, remember that you're doing this to capture the condition of the vehicle. So if there's damage, make sure it gets added. There is an option within the application to do that. It's also going to generate some clarity and some visibility to the customer because this information is going to be made available to them. So if there's damage on a vehicle, it will be made available to the customer via health reports. So the fourth step to the process is to connect to the vehicle. We are fully integrated with the on-command link that launched earlier this year. Essentially what we're doing is collecting a standard health report, adding all the information that we've collected during the write-up process, and sending that up to Service Portal to generate an Accelerator health report. The fifth step to the process is Agree. This application is uniquely designed to guide the dialogue between the customer and the service advisor. The agreement step is very important that you take your time to make sure that the customer fully understands and agrees to the terms of service. There are 4 agreements of the agreement step. Essentially, the first thing you agree to is that the possession of the vehicle has changed. The second thing is that you've agreed to the condition of the vehicle, the reason that the vehicle is there for service, and then finally the dealer-specific terms. You collect a signature and then you're able to submit it. So what is the output of the Accelerator write-up tool? The first thing is the health report. So it generates a standardized health report with the addition of the information you just collected. In addition, it generates a PDF document that is very user-friendly and is intended to go home with the customer. So we've built the application to send it home with the customer, and I'll demonstrate that in a minute. It also outputs to the repair management system. There's now a write-ups tab in the repair management system where you'll find any write-ups that your dealer recently did. You'll be able to go start an estimate from that write-up screen. And finally, in the business system, we've integrated with a lot of the dealer business systems. We have made a lot of progress on this, and some of the dealers are piloting this. I will tell you that that is a separate project, and we are moving forward. If you're interested in more information on that, I would encourage you to look at the I Know article that's out there around this. It'll tell you where your business system provider is at, and it'll also guide your conversation with them. We encourage everybody to reach out to their business system providers if you feel that they're not moving this forward the way they should be. So that leads me to the next step. I'm going to switch over to share my desktop and actually show you what the Accelerator write-up tool looks like. So what you see, as soon as this loads, what you actually see here is the Accelerator write-up tablet that's being essentially shipped to all the dealers. This is the way it's going to look when it arrives. It will configure itself as soon as it gets there. So the first thing you're going to do is launch the Accelerator write-up application. Hang on just a second here. As soon as it launches, you'll actually enter your credentials to log in. The very first thing it's going to do is walk you through a guided setup, and it's going to ask you to connect to a link device. Now, the reason why I don't have any links connected right now is because I wanted to demonstrate how easy it is to add a link device. Lovely. There we go. So with that, I've just added the link device, and that's all the connection you need to do once it arrives. Now, the very first thing I say when I do this demonstration with the application is you always want to plug in first. That's the first thing you want to do. This device actually will take approximately 5 minutes to boot up. It is an onboard PC, so that's about how long it takes to generate a health report. The reason why you plug in first, you key the vehicle on, you plug the device in. The reason why you do that first is because with Accelerator, you can start into the write-up and complete everything else you need to do prior to connecting to the vehicle. So the first thing that we're looking at here is the dashboard. What you see is 3 service requests that have been collected previously. As I mentioned, a service request is simply a saved write-up. At any point in the process, you simply save the write-up and it shows up as a service request. From the dashboard, if you wanted to, you can actually delete service requests if you make a mistake for some reason. You'll see that there's 2 left. What's really interesting about this is you see the status of the service requests. There are 5 steps to the write-up: customer, collect, capture, connect, and agree. In this particular service request, you'll see that the first 3 steps have already been satisfied. You'll also notice that there's a little truck icon here stating that the vehicle is there. It's present at your dealership. The next service request, we'll see that there's actually a drop-off time of tomorrow morning. And you'll see that we've collected customer information, reason for service, and made an agreement with our customer. So we've already collected a signature. What I would say this likely occurs when somebody walks in to say, hey, I need to bring my truck in tomorrow. You have a discussion, collect their reason for service, and capture their signature. And at that point, you save it off as a service request and put the date in for tomorrow. You'll see the truck is not there, but this request is intended for the next day. So we're going to go ahead and start a new write-up at this point. So after you plug in, you want to see what records Navistar has for this particular vehicle. So I'm going to go ahead and punch in a VIN and search. So you'll see we made a connection to a VIN number here. What we did is pulled in a unit number, the customer name, and it happens to be Mark Ryder's vehicle. But it's actually not Mark Ryder dropping it off. We have another contact in here, so we're going to go ahead and move over to Batman as dropping it off. In this page, you're able to capture the unit number that's collected in Service Portal as well as update it if you need to. You can input the tag number for the keys, miles, hours, which is intended really for future service requests. There's no reason to enter it here if you're going to actually connect to the vehicle because we'll pull that information as well. You can enter a date and time if they're coming later and enter any specific notes about the service, pick up, drop off, anything unique. But not reason for service. That's collected in a minute. You'll also see the customer name. This comes from the Service Portal homepage. If you needed to update that, you can simply click and update the information. That will go through an approval process, so that won't post right away. Secondary payer is an additional field that you can add, as well as driver name and phone number. Oftentimes people ask for that because it's unique from all the other contacts. You can mark if the vehicle was towed in as well. The next step to the process is to collect. Now, first thing I'll point out is that because this vehicle actually has an open recall, so you'll notice that it already populated that open recall on the right side here. So what we're going to look at is the customer complaint. So the very first thing we're going to say, the customer comes in, let's say they're complaining of an engine issue. And the engine has a performance issue. The engine has low power.
Hey, Joe. This is Ty. We're still back on the 3 write-ups right now.
Pardon?
I don't know if everybody else is having the same problem we are. We're clear back on the 3 write-up page.
Your screen isn't updating.
The screen's not updating. I think you need to refresh because I got an email from someone who said that they had to kill it and reopen it, and then it showed.
Refresh.
Refresh where?
The user's refresh. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you, Ty. We're hearing that some of the people are stuck on an earlier page. I would encourage everybody who's looking at an earlier page to go ahead and refresh their browser, and we'll see if the view is working after that. I'm going to go ahead and...
that worked on our side.
Okay. So, as I walk through this, I will remind you that this call is recorded if you missed certain items of the application. Also, this will be available. It is available now in the Play Store if you have a 10-inch tablet. We'd encourage you to download it just to try it out. I'm going to continue through this. So what we started with was an engine issue. We have an engine performance issue. The engine has low power. Now, this last question that we have in here is called a condition question. It is unique to the questions that you just answered. So in this case, if you had an example of, a headlight is out, you wouldn't have the answer while under load, because that doesn't really make a lot of sense. But in this case, let's just say, that the engine has low power. It has low power all the time, so we'll actually look for always down at the bottom. Once you've completed the questionnaire, you're going to get your concern. It says engine has low power always. And you're going to have an opportunity to enter in specific notes. You also have the ability to take a photo if you wanted to add something for the actual issue. So this is a tablet. We are in a conference room, so the photos aren't going to make a lot of sense. But once you've added that, you'll see this little photo icon. The next step is to capture 4 photos of the vehicle. On this screen, you can see the yellow flashing is telling you exactly what you're supposed to do. So when you click on this icon, it will, no, I do not want to log out. It will bring up the little prompt. If you look in the lower right-hand corner of the screen, you'll see it tells you exactly which photo you're supposed to be taking. And once you've completed the 4 photos of the vehicle, you'll see that it populates on the screen there showing the little thumbnails of the vehicle. You also have the ability to add damage if you had to add specific damage to the vehicle. In this example, the tailgate's missing, so we'll take a photo and just type in tailgate missing. This is now added to the health report. Will show up separate. Once you've completed that step, as you'll notice, these icons are turning green as you've fulfilled those steps. The next step is to connect. Now, the very first thing you need to do after you plug in is allow that device to boot up. You'll see an amber light. That's the big message. We're actually going to put that right on the page here shortly in a coming release. But you'll see a little amber light on the device. Until you hear the beep and see that amber light, you want to wait to hit the connect button. But as soon as you hit that connect button, it's going to find the device, and you'll see it makes a connection. So it's just connected to the vehicle. The next step is to collect a health report. You'll see it just pulled in a health report. Now it's restoring its network connection, and it's making a connection to Service Portal to pull down any vehicle information from Service Portal. So the connection is now complete. We got a tip there to remind you to unplug the device. So as soon as you see that, it is okay to unplug the device. But you'll see we've satisfied that step, and it's been collected here. So the final step is the agreement. This is the point where you're going to want to share this information with your customer, make sure they understand everything. I can't emphasize this enough. Slow down and make sure your customer understands this. If they're not in front of you, then you've likely already collected the signature. Regardless, this is the information that you want to make sure your customer fully understands. Confirm the customer information that you've just collected. If you have an issue with it, you can go back to the customer step to update it. Next, confirm that you've accurately captured all of the customer's reason for service. You'll go through the condition and status. You'll see the indicator lights. If one of the lights is on and is not illuminated in the diagram here, you can simply click on that and it will change the color of it. In the status field, you'll see that you have odometer reading, hours, fuel, voltage. You'll see idle time, DOT inspection. Cal status is coming shortly. You'll see your fault codes. that are displayed right here. This is actually a bench module, so it'll have a handful of codes on it, but it is an actual module that we have plugged in. And you'll see the condition, the 4 condition photos as well as the damage photo that you see right there. Finally, you'll go through the VIN report. This is the information that's collected from Service Portal. Model information, summary of the vehicle. You'll see history. The vehicle history comes in from case files, warranty claims, and estimates. And it's just a brief summary. These don't go into the detail. You can find that on Service Portal. But the purpose of this is so you can see that if you have a cylinder head gasket that was just replaced, you have low compression, or whatever the case may be, you can see that right away. Next, you'll see the warranty contracts. It's just displaying the information that's available on Service Portal. Finally, you go to the signature portion. Typically, this is when you want to hand the device over to the customer to accept these terms. So what they're going to do is accept that you've taken possession of the vehicle, that you've accurately captured the condition in the photos, that you've captured the customer's reason for service. And then finally, you're going to want to agree to the specific dealer terms. I request an estimate in writing. I do not want an estimate. The dealer can set the price. Or if you want to set specific price, you can do that here. Now, the one thing I'll point out is this is uniquely designed so that if somebody drops the vehicle off, in the case where we did not have the vehicle yet, but the customer wanted to sign, we can click unavailable here, and you'll see the icon turns white. That'll also show up on the customer report to say that they did not agree to the condition of the vehicle. Once they confirm, you'll be able to just simply sign the tablet. I'm using a mouse to do that. If they want to enter payment terms, they can enter specific payment terms. And then this is really one of the items I really want to emphasize is sharing your information with the customer. From the tablet, you can go directly into the check-in report. That's actually going to bring up all of the details that you've just collected, and as you can see, a nice friendly PDF document. You can see the open information. It displays the photo that you took of the issue. And then in addition, if you take the time with your IT group, you can print directly from there. You also have the ability to, if you'd like, go in and email the report directly from the application. You can email it to existing emails you have on file, or you can add one. So we're going to go ahead and submit the write-up. It does prompt you to agree to submit the write-up because once you submit it, you cannot modify it. So that prompt is there so that you're aware that you can't make any changes once it's submitted. In just a moment, you'll see it actually submits the write-up, and then I can jump over to Service Portal real quick before I move to the next. So you see we successfully submitted that write-up. Now I'm going to go to my home screen. Now this is actually on the tablet. So in Google Chrome, you can see that this is Service Portal. I'm already on that VIN. You'll see the customer information. This is where we actually collected the information from, the unit number. And then in addition, you'll see the health reports that generated. We have one in here from 10/29. For those of you that have spent time hitting the refresh button over and over again with PocketMax, you'll see that this health report submitted immediately. So we've had good reports on this, that we've had great improvements with the speed that these health reports submit. This is a health report that comes from Accelerator. In this report, you'll see all your DTCs the way you normally would, but you'll also see the information provided at write-up, the customer information, and what you're going to see is the customer complaint here. Here you'll see a link directly to that photo that you took during the customer complaint. You'll also see a damage photo on there. You can view the customer's signature or click directly through to that PDF document I showed you a moment ago. All of that is available directly from the health report when they're generated from Service Portal. So your on-command connection customers that are using on-command right now will have visibility to all this information. So this brings a whole new level of visibility to the customers as well. Go back over to the presentation now. Give me just a moment. So the next thing I want to go through real quick are some of the benefits of Accelerator. So during our pilot program, we've had people report that a write-up all the way from the point that the truck arrives to the point that the technician initiates repairs can be anywhere from 22 to 28 minutes. What we found with Accelerator is that's been reduced down to 10 to 15. So we've seen a great improvement in the write-up time. In some dealerships, we've found that they've combined up to 5 different processes. Examples of that are, starting a repair estimate, scanning with PocketMax, using a sheet to write them up, going into the RO and starting an RO. 5 different processes we're able to combine into one. It is our goal that we eliminate missed symptoms altogether. We don't want any customer to come in and have a reason for service without telling us. We have a lot of missed opportunities when we don't capture those. Now this is the big exciting thing that we found. What I did is I took the dealers that we have on our pilot right now and looked at their dwell time in January, and then reviewed it again in May when all of them were up to speed and were submitting write-ups. I was only looking at the ones that were heavily using the tool. I found a 40% dwell time reduction. Now there are obviously other factors there, when we release campaigns and stuff like that. All of those play into this number. But it was pretty exciting for me when I saw this number. It's something we're going to monitor continuously. But it was pretty exciting for me to see that these are dealers that have embraced this as their #1 primary write-up, and we saw that kind of reduction. We also want to eliminate damage disputes altogether. If you use this application, there should be no reason why a customer would ever dispute damage. Also, customer visibility. That customer health report, that check-in report, is very user-friendly, very easy to distribute, but really summarizes why you're there. So as soon as you make that agreement, what you'll notice in the check-in report is that the check-in report is organized exactly the same way as the agreement page is. So if you've successfully gone through the details with your customer and you slowed down and went through everything, made sure they understood it, when they get that report, it will sort of bring them back to the memory of exactly the details they went through. So that's what it's designed to do. Right now we have 25 dealers that have been piloting this. We have over 4,000 write-ups that have been submitted in 2016. You'll see some of the names of our heavy hitter dealers. Like I said, we have 25, so there's a lot behind that, but these are the dealers that have continued to submit write-ups over and over and over again. The chart below shows you where those dealers are at in terms of total volume, and all of them have submitted a number of write-ups and proved to us that they're able to embrace this as a part of their process for every truck that arrives every single day. With that said, I do have one of our customers on the line. Ty Hill has been our top submitter for Accelerator during our pilot, and he'd like to share some of his experience with the group. Ty?
Thanks, Joe. As Joe was saying, it has definitely cut down our write-up procedure time, and we feel like we're getting a lot better write-up to our technicians than we was getting when we were doing them by hand. We use it daily on every truck that we can hook the Accelerator to right now. There isn't a truck that we write up unless it's the older version that we don't use the tool on. It prompts you, like he was saying, to ask the customer more questions as you're writing the truck up. And we have definitely used the photos. The other piece of the photos is if you've got customer brings a truck in, says he's got a brake problem, and you notice the brake chamber is ready to fall off, you can actually take a picture of that chamber and attach it into the RO as an additional photo besides the 4 you take, which has really been beneficial also. And like I said, our guys use it daily. We're actually one of the pilots as far as taking it to where it ties into the repair management system, makes the estimate, and punches over to the business system. That piece we're still playing with, working the bugs out of it. But our guys use it, and they have really, I guess, take the grasp of it and feel like they're doing a lot better write-up on it themselves.
Excellent. Thank you, Ty. So I also want to share that when we ran the dwell time numbers, Ty's dwell time numbers had reduced significantly. They were, you know, almost 3 days that it reduced. Now again, there's a ton of factors that go into that, but you know, his dwell time numbers are very good today. He also has 27 technicians in the shop, and he's got 4 service advisors. So next I want to cover, if I had to give you the recipe for success with this application, here it is. I touched on some of this stuff a little bit, but I want to reiterate how important these are. First, connect to the vehicle. Pull the VIN number when you're searching customer information. Broaden your search. Don't forget damage. Be thorough with your customer, and submit 30 write-ups. First, the very first thing you want to do is plug the device in. If at all humanly possible, go out to the vehicle, turn the ignition on, engine off, plug the device in. While you're waiting for the device to boot, you can begin the write-up process. When the app light is illuminated on the device, you'll see the little amber light right here. When that app light is illuminated, it'll be okay to hit the connect button at that point. Prior to that, it just kind of hangs and eventually it fails to connect. But when you see that app light, go ahead and connect. The application will complete the process as you saw. Next, pull the VIN. If you enter your customer information first, it's actually not working with what we have in the system. So we encourage you, the very first thing you should do is collect that customer information from Service Portal by searching the VIN number. Simplify your search. So I wanted to demonstrate this, but I didn't get a chance to do that. When you're going through the click-based write-up, what you'll see is that on every screen you have a button that says Other. If you click the Other button, it's going to take you directly to this alert that says you chose unknown other. What were you looking for? You also will find a little search icon in the upper right-hand corner. If you are searching, I encourage you to simplify your search. In the example here, I said, let's say you started with left headlight out. You won't find anything. Left headlight, you may find a search, but start with headlight and scroll through the results. I had one example that I did of fuel gauge is not working. If you type that in, you will never find anything. It just won't work. If you type in fuel gauge, you may find something, you may not. In this case, you actually don't. But if you type in fuel, you can scroll through all the fuel-related options, and you'll find fuel level gauge. So it's one of those things, this is a continued development. This questionnaire that develops these complaint codes, this has been developed over the course of the last year and will continue to be developed. So we're not in any way, shape, or form done. So I encourage you, please be thorough with your search and make sure that you do everything you can to collect that complaint. If you don't find what you're looking for, please make sure you enter in a very clear description. We want to make sure that we get inputs from you guys that we can actually use and that we can update our questionnaire. Because every time you hit Other and you don't find anything, you type that information in, we're going to have a team of people that review it. But what we really want more than anything is you to find the complaint, because then we can match that up to warranty data and see what the results are from it. Next, don't forget photos. When you get into the groove of using this thing, you walk around and capture 4 photos. It takes like 2 seconds. You're going to get really fast at it. It's going to be very simple. But we encourage you not to forget why you're using the photos in the first place, is to capture damage. So please make sure that you look closely at the vehicle and capture any damage that you see on it, and then type up a description of it. Be thorough with your customer. This is one time, this application is going to expedite a lot of your write-up, but this is one time where you really don't want to blast through it. You really want your customer to understand all of the details of this. So take your time with the customer. Explain each item in the write-up. Explain what you found in Service Portal. Go over the details and collect a signature from the customer. The final item that I have for you is this is kind of the level set. I think what we've come up with is it's a really good-looking app. We've had a lot of success. You heard from one of our dealers that he's had success. All of our dealers have a lot of good things to say about this. But I think I need to expose you guys a little bit to the reality of it is that it's not a silver bullet, that this isn't going to magically take you to the next level alone. You guys have to embrace the Project Confirmation 3.0 process first and foremost. When you first start this, the process will feel a little awkward. Most of you guys have been writing on a sheet of paper for many years now. When you put a tablet in your hand instead, it's going to feel a little bit weird. There will be some hiccups. It's not going to work 100% perfectly all the time. We are going to have some bugs that we will go through and fix, and we will continue to do that. You will be in a hurry, too. If you're in a hurry and you need to handle something right away to get a customer out the door, do that. Use the service request to save off whatever information you've collected. And finally, remember to share your information with the customer. This is really intended to give that transparency to the customer, so make sure you use it. The last thing I want to say that's not actually on this slide, but I think is really, really important. From the very, very get-go of this project, our philosophy has been that the customer is the ultimate decision maker for this application. That's been our philosophy from day one and will absolutely be our philosophy as we continue. So when you're using this application, there are a number of feedback channels. You can use the resource page, you can use the email address that's posted on the resource page, or you can use case files. No matter what you do, I want everybody on the call to understand that we are absolutely listening. So as you're going through this application, please provide us what feedback you can. Again, first connect, pull the VIN, broaden your search, don't forget to add the damage, be thorough with your customer, and submit 30. Once you've submitted 30, you should have the majority of your bugs worked out, and it should be much, much easier to use after you get through those first 30. Prior to those first 30, just remember it won't be perfect, and you just need to get to that point. So, Accelerator Write-Up has launched in the Google Play Store today. It is available now. It's for a 10-inch tablet or larger. Well, no, it's a 10-inch tablet, excuse me. Essential shipments began yesterday. We started to the high-volume dealers. Because of the uniqueness of this application and all the things we have to do, it will take 12 to 15 weeks to get them all out, so just be prepared for that. We're going to do this as quickly as we can, but I just want to level set and make sure everybody understands that. It is available in the Google Play Store today if you choose to purchase your own tablet, as well as the on-command link device is available in Tools Catalog, and the Y cable will be posted too. One thing I will say is that we are not shipping this with a ruggedized case. We highly encourage you guys to do your search and look for a case yourself. We use something called the gumdrop for our devices. We could not get enough of these gumdrop cases. I didn't want to back up shipping anymore, so we decided to ship you the tablet as is and allow you to buy your own. The last thing I'll say is your resources. Accelerator resource page under Write-Up, you'll see Accelerator and you'll see Write-Up tool. You also have the ability to submit case files directly from that resource page. We ask a bunch of questions. We really encourage you to fill those out prior to submitting. It helps us a lot. I did post a user guide out on the resource page, and in addition, you're going to see a lot of this function start working its way into the About section of the application, so you can see some of that stuff directly. We will be doing some guided videos to come as well, so we'll see that as well. So we're very, very, very excited to be launching this today. We're anxious to see what the inputs are. You know, our philosophy here as a team, we've been saying this for several weeks now, for probably several months now. When we go live, that's when it's actually really going to start. We built an application that we believe is worthwhile and is worthy of deploying to the dealers. But our philosophy is we've only just begun. We've only had the input of 25 dealers. We're now going to have the input of almost 700. So we can't stress this enough. Please provide us feedback, be clear, and understand with the mindset that when you give us this feedback, we are listening to you. We do want to know what you believe will be more effective. And we're going to take those inputs. We'll provide you feedback that we have had already, and we'll let you know what we believe will be effective. So that's how we approach this, and I can't emphasize that enough. So finally, we're going to go to the question and answer section. We're going to start answering some of these questions. So first I see, let's go up to the top real quick. The presentation will be made available on the town hall, or the town hall call will be made available on the resource page, likely tomorrow, possibly Monday. Yeah, so in the VIN that I used, you can see that in the replay. If you want to look at that VIN, it's CN Charlie Nancy 454540. Can I see request the PC laptop, not just the tablet. So the web admin tool will be available soon, and you'll be able to generate requests from your laptop. That is not available yet, but we are actively working on it. Are there any future plans to make this app available in iTunes, or will the app remain exclusively? So we had a question about iTunes. We do want to make this available for Apple, but we've run into some restrictions in terms of how their security works. So the reality is, as of right now, the application will not be available in the iTunes store. If we move to a different device, which we're working towards right now, other than the on-command link, we may offer another device that will work with Apple. But for now, the way we use Wi-Fi, it is going to be Android only. So odometer mileage. Is that correct? Yeah, so we had a question around the mileage and the odometer reading in the health report. The information that you enter on the first screen in the customer section is really intended as a placeholder for people that would like to record that information prior to service. So when you enter that information, it's really just intended for the person that's going to be completing the write-up. Once you connect to the vehicle, that information will be used for the health report. So we had a question about the Essential Shipment Program. If you guys are planning to use this prior to that 12 to 15 weeks, we are required as part of the Essential Tool Program and as warranty requirements to ship you one write-up package. If you're only planning on using one package, I'd encourage you to wait for the Essential Shipment. I will also say that the on-command link device that you use for write-up will be available to be used for programming as well. So if you have an Android device that you could use for a period of time, you're welcome to use an Android device temporarily, use an over-the-air programming device temporarily that can be reused for programming at a later time, and then when the Essential Shipment Program comes, you'll receive another one. So there will not be refunds if you already have one, but if you choose to do more than one, you can certainly do that as well. So are these auto-shipped or can we buy our own tablets? Both. You are welcome to purchase a tablet from Best Buy or any retailer, online or store. You can purchase a tablet as long as it's a 10-inch. We have more details of what's required for this tablet on the Accelerator resource page, so please review that first. Will there be a fleet version available? At this point, we do not have a fleet version. We have decided since the get-go that we're going to tackle the dealer first, and then we're going to visit the fleets and see if there's going to be value add there. We anticipate that there probably will be, but we don't have a timeline yet. We've been putting that off to get this out the door first. So I had a question, will the app work with all makes? Right now, today, The app will not work with all makes, but we are looking at a subsequent release that we plan on releasing pretty shortly. It won't be long. So if you get an all makes vehicle, you're more than welcome to plug into it and give it a try. I feel like it's only going to be a short period of time. I also will say that information will get posted out on Service Portal after this, or out on the resource page. After this release, we'll have a section right at the top of the resource page that says what came in the new release. So I had 3 questions in a row around other makes. Hang on just a second. Some VINs are not automatically adding recalls and AFCs. Is there a fix for this? I had a question from Chaz around recalls and AFCs. I would say email us directly, or you could even, actually at this point, because we are live, I would encourage you to go to the resource page and start a case file, and we'll look into that. You should be pulling all of your recalls and AFCs. All campaigns should come in. So, does this satisfy warranty requirements for signature, including pickup? Absolutely. Yes, not pickup, sorry. When you get a customer that picks up, they typically sign an invoice or something like that. This satisfies the write-up signature. That's the purpose of putting a signature in there. So absolutely it satisfies the signature there. I had a question, will Chromebook have the same functionality? Right now, today, this is an Android-only application. So it will only work on an Android tablet. If you have a Chromebook with, does Chromebook have an Android operating system?
It comes with Android, but we haven't tested it.
Yeah, so the answer to that question is we don't know. Right now, as we deploy this, we are specifically working exclusively with Samsung Android tablets. There's a ton of them out there, but we are testing on the majority of those. We will expand as time goes on. If you are trying to use a different flavor of tablet, you are more than welcome to. Anything that you have, please feel free to try to use that. If it doesn't work, please do share that with us. Open a case file. There's a section to say, are you using the provided tablet? If you answer no, all that's going to do is help us to troubleshoot it. We absolutely are going to do our best to help you no matter what the situation is. So please understand that question is intended to help us troubleshoot the issue. So I had a question about the Android operating system. Does the operating system matter? We will not work, what is our?
4.4 and above.
So it's, that is KitKat 4.4 and above. So anything before that, that's pretty dated if it's before that. Oh, the cost associated with this. I am so sorry. I actually intended to bring that up earlier. So the kit comes with the Accelerator tablet. That's a Samsung Tab E device. It comes with the Y cable and an international or an on-command link device. The cost for the Essential program is $690. We did our best to keep that down as much as humanly possible, and that's where we landed. So can it be used on a phone? At this point, if you have a 10-inch phone, it would probably work, but I haven't seen those yet. It is Android only, and it is 10-inch and above. Are we going to deploy this to phones? I would say that that's entirely up to you guys. When the demand starts to come in as time goes on, this project is going to be guided by you guys. So if there's something that's really helpful for you guys, please share that. Do we know how well the app works on a cellular network? It just depends on your network. If it's a good Verizon network and you have good coverage, or AT&T or whatever, you have good coverage, it will work fine. The service requests, we had a question from Chaz on starting service requests and seeing them in another tablet. That actually will probably be a subsequent release to the initial release of the web admin tool. The first thing we want to do is get all of the service requests into one place in the web admin tool. It will likely be push only to begin, so you type in a service request from the website, and then it will push to all of the tablets you have at your location. So I had another question on the Apple device. Without going into a ton of detail, the biggest reason why we cannot use Apple right now is because Android allows us to manipulate the Wi-Fi settings in the native device. We need to do that so that we can generate a point-to-point connection. When we had the Apple app, we actually have developed an Apple app. When we tried to use the connection on the Apple app, it requires you to actually leave the application, go into your settings, make a connection and enter a password to the on-command device, the link device, go back into the application, connect to it, then go back into your settings and change it back to your network. So that process we just didn't see as realistic, so we chose not to release the Apple device yet. So will body shops be using this? I would say that what would be a great idea is for body shops to monitor the vehicles that are coming in for damage. This is actually something that could be super, super helpful to basically work with your customers to write estimates automatically. If you see a damage reported in a write-up and you don't have an overwhelming amount of work, write an estimate form, send it over, say we can get this taken care of too. I think that's a great opportunity for you guys. So we had a question about Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. It is a Wi-Fi point-to-point connection. It acts the same way as Bluetooth, but it uses Wi-Fi instead. So service requests can a customer create service requests from the international website? Pat, you are a few steps ahead of us. We're actually very excited about that idea, but we have not started developing that yet. We would love to have service request functionality. The click-based write-up in the application was designed to face the customer as well. So we really hope that, in the not-so-distant future, we'll be able to do that. So a question from John McLean around linking them all to the same dashboard. That's exactly what the web admin tool is intended to be. It should tie all of your write-ups together. So if a service request shows up on one tablet, it will also show up on the dashboard. If you do a service request in the admin tool, it should show up on all the tablets. So we're working on the details of that right now. We're hoping to do that very soon. So I had a question around the essential shipment, around associated locations or subcontractors. To be totally honest with you, I don't know the answer to that, but I can tell you that if you receive essential shipments now at that location, you will receive one of these. Yeah, so the essential shipment includes an on-command link device. Does the program comply with warranty audits? Absolutely. That's how we started this whole thing. So I have a question around the vehicle being towed in. How do you get the signature? This is a great point, guys. I really encourage you that if you have a tow truck driver show up, get their signature. They should not be agreeing to reason for service. They should not be agreeing to your dealer terms. But I really, really encourage you, get their signature, and because the moment that they leave, if you find damage on that vehicle, you may eat it. So it's designed to collect the signature from the tow truck driver, and then save it off. And then the agreement from there that you need for warranty oftentimes will come in the form of a PDF document being emailed. So that concludes, about all the time we have for today. This will be posted out on the Accelerator resource page. Please take a moment to review that. We also have a press release that just went out, so if you Google search Accelerator write-up, you'll see more information on it. Use the channels that you have out there, guys. We have a lot of ways to communicate with us, so please look out on the resource page and reach out to us if you have additional questions.
Hey, Joe, this is Ty.
Yeah.
I would like to thank your team. You guys done a wonderful job with this. It's something been way overdue, and it's making process at the dealership's way better. And you guys have done a great job and should pat yourselves on the back.
Thank you.